Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this virtual roadshow. My name is Desi Shakni. I am the VP of Marketing at Kurmi, and I am joined today by Eric Olson, our VP of Sales for the Americas, as well as Antoine Perrier, who is the Global Solutions Engineering Director. So thank you for taking the time to attend this session. Over the next hour or so, we're going to cover the hot topic on everyone's mind, which is how to streamline UC operations and migrate pain-free to the cloud. Okay, the agenda for today's session is as follows. So we're going to kick off with a look at some research findings related to unified communications and UC management. These come from a recent study that we conducted in partnership with Gartner. Then I will pass over to Eric, who will spend a few minutes to introduce Kurmi, who we are, what we do, but more importantly, how we help our customers. And then we're going to end the presentation portion of this session on a high note with a live demo. So Antoine will take us through two migration scenarios that demonstrate the power of using a third-party automation tool like Kurmi Provisioning Suite. So I do encourage you to stay at least until the live demo portion. You're not going to want to miss that. And then at the end of our time here, we will have about 10 to 15 minutes for Q&A. You can type in your questions either in the chat or in the Q&A box, which is on the lower right-hand corner. So please go ahead and take advantage of that. Okay, so let's get right into it. Unified communications, we all know what it is. It's really one of the most mission-critical capabilities that enables hybrid work. So to understand the landscape a little bit better and to uncover the unique challenges that IT teams are facing, about a year ago, we surveyed approximately 200 IT professionals, mainly from large enterprises, and we wanted to understand what are the main drivers for adopting a UC management tool like Kurmi. So from the findings, what we saw is that one of the main drivers is automation. Automation not only simplifies workflows, it also increases productivity, it lowers costs, but even beyond that, it delivers greater job satisfaction for the IT staff, which often manage, pretty manual and tedious processes. So that was one of the drivers. The second driver we identified is solving for the complexity. As cloud migrations and multi-vendor hybrid systems become really more pervasive across the enterprise, IT teams are looking for a way to simplify all of the administration across the interfaces and manage everything from a single pane of glass. So this is the second driver we identified. And then last but not least, cost containment. So companies are looking to manage costs at the same time. They want to offer a way to scale as they grow. And this also includes the ability or the flexibility to integrate with ITSM systems like ServiceNow, as well as HR systems like Workday. So these were the top three that were identified in terms of why an organization might select a UC management tool. Okay, in answer to the question, which UC platform does your organization use today? We allowed for multiple answers. And looking at the survey results, it's pretty evident that companies are using more than one unified communication platform or application. Not surprisingly, we see the top three over here, Microsoft, Zoom, and Cisco in the top three positions. Cisco both with their on-prem offerings as well as with their cloud offering. And then we also continue to see a presence in the marketplace for Avaya, again, with their on-prem and cloud solutions. So with the first reality of the modern UC environment is that for many, and especially for the mid-size and large enterprises, hybrid is the default environment. And this means if we look at the first stat there on the left, 86% of those surveyed indicated that they use more than one UC platform. And we even saw as many as five in some cases in the respondents. So there's a mix of platforms. There's also a mix of deployment scenarios. As organizations are moving from legacy systems that are typically on-prem into the cloud, there is going to be, a hybrid deployment situation probably for the foreseeable future. The second reality of the modern UC environment is that it is one in flux. And the second statistic here, 38% of companies that are predominantly on premises are looking to move and replace their current systems with cloud services or maintain a hybrid environment as well. So in some cases, what we've seen is that companies are looking to potentially keep their on-premise PBXs for their calling needs, for example, but they might adopt cloud-based services for their meetings and their team messaging. And especially, given the push in the market from Microsoft and Cisco for their cloud-based offerings. Okay, and this hybrid ecosystem of systems as well as deployments, this is really what enables hybrid work. It comes with a number of advantages. Empowering collaboration is one, improving the user experience is another. And in many cases, also managing costs because of the efficiencies that can be created through some parallel applications. But also this presents challenges in different ways. One of the challenges we're seeing and hearing about is that systems don't integrate easily. There's a fragmentation in how these systems are managed. Obviously, that becomes a time-consuming task for the IT team. And this is especially exacerbated because of the increase in tickets or in tasks for the IT department. And then on top of that, there's ongoing migrations. These are both from one technology provider to another, as well as from one architecture like an on-prem solution to the cloud. So migrations are a big strain on IT teams. And we're going to get into that a little bit more later in the presentation. Okay, so I just want to end here on this question that we posed in our survey, which is IT leaders in large enterprises. What are your main three challenges that you're seeing? So at the top of the list, we have with 63%, the number one issue being faced by IT teams from the survey that was cited is the high volume of UC operational tasks. So these are the daily MACDs, the moves, adds, changes, and deletes that have to be managed on a daily basis as they onboard and offboard employees. So that's our number one challenge. Then second after that was identified the multiple portal interfaces. Obviously, this causes fragmentation and increased workload on the IT team. So second challenge. And then last but not least, migrations to the cloud. We're seeing this more and more as we talk to customers. So integration and migrating data between on-prem and cloud environments can be a challenge, security concerns, compliance issues, etc. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to actually show you a demo of how Kurmi's migration capabilities can really alleviate and streamline a lot of these processes and take some of that burden away. So this is just a little bit of background on the market trends. And now I'm going to pass it over to Eric for the next portion.
Thank you, Desi, and great job. And thank you to everybody for joining us today. So, who is Kurmi? Well, first of all, let me just say, so I'm Eric Olson. I'm the Vice President of Sales for the Americas for Kurmi. So who are we? Right? We're a UC automation software company. We have been around for about 13 years, initially founded out of Paris, France, and still have a major presence there. We have won multiple awards across the across the spectrum, whether it be a best service management provider, best CE automation provider. We've been fortunate to have many third-party accolades bestowed upon us. I mentioned before we were founded in Paris, France. We still have the biggest presence we have in the world is still in Paris. But over the last 3 years, we've really gone through a significant expansion, particularly internationally. Our US-based organization has more than tripled, actually almost quadrupled in size in the last 3 years. We also have offices in, I mentioned before, Paris, Rennes, France, Berlin, Dubai, New York, Montreal. So we're expanding into other areas of the world, including into North and South America, as well as into Asia Pacific. We are a global company, very much. U.S. headquarters, I mentioned before, is in New York, Paris being our home base. We are a global company with customers all over the world. We're currently supporting customers in more than 25 different countries around the globe. We focus from a go-to-market standpoint, and you look at our customer base, we focus on two main areas. One is large-scale enterprises. So that's generally companies with more than 1,000 users, but we certainly scale up like no one else in the industry. We have multiple customers that have north of 300,000 individual users that are currently being managed by Kurmi. The other piece of our business is really on the service provider side. So large scale managed service providers. So some of the largest telcos in the world utilize Kurmi to handle all their everyday automation, all their everyday tasks. Kurmi to handle all of that. So again, large scale in terms of our customer base from an enterprise standpoint, but also support multiple, meaning in the dozens of large scale telcos and managed service providers. We'll talk a little bit more about multiple vendor integrations because it's obviously very important. What we mean by that is multiple technology providers, Cisco, Microsoft, Avaya, et cetera. And then when you look at our platform itself, and Antoine's going to do an actual live demonstration of that, one of the reasons that these large scale organizations choose Kurmi to be their migration and their automation partner is around our ability not only to scale, not only because we're global, but also because we are highly configurable and in many ways even customizable, allowing you to work with existing third-party applications that you've made a big investment in, that are strategic to your organization's success. Our ability to work with them and work with them well really makes a big difference to our customer base. So what is UC automation, right? And what does Kurmi do? So we centralize management of your unified communication stack. And we allow you to do that from a single pane of glass. So that's all of your daily automation. It's all of your provisioning, all of your MACDs, the ability to assign phone numbers, bulk operations. We have the ability to delegate tasks down using various role-based access control functionality that we've built in. And then, Desi mentioned before, when we go out to the market, and whether it's through us directly or through third-party integrations or third-party customer or companies that we've hired, we're really seeing a huge jump in the need for managing UC migrations, right? So what we're seeing in the market, when I'm talking to customers, when I'm talking to partners in the channel, when I'm even talking to technology vendors like Cisco, like Microsoft, et cetera, what the feedback we're getting is we want to move to the cloud, whether it's something where we're moving from Cisco to Cisco or Cisco to somebody else or somebody else to Avaya to Cisco, right? We understand the benefits of it. We've bought into it. And many times even have the licenses for it. But how the heck do we do it? And that's a real big challenge. And it's a problem that's popping up literally every day. And that's what we're trying to help our customers solve. So talking a little bit about what I just mentioned, this is actually some direct feedback from customers. So how do I simplify, take control of cloud migration? What are some of the cost savings and IT efficiencies that I can capture from moving to an automation tool like Kurmi or by utilizing something like Kurmi? How do I manage multiple vendor interfaces? As Desi mentioned, right? The vast majority of large-scale organizations around the world do not just have or do not just utilize one unified communications technology, right? I might have Avaya for my contact center and Cisco for my telephony and Microsoft for my collaboration. So how do I manage that? That's a challenge in itself. There's mundane tasks that take a lot of time, and that time translates into man hours, which translates into a very high cost. So these are the types of things, and this is the feedback that we've been getting from our customers, which is driving us to be more innovative around things like building UC migration capabilities. So ultimately, what are the big benefits of utilizing a third party or moving towards some type of UC automation tool? Save time, as I mentioned before, significant reduction. I'll even talk about some numbers around that as well. Decrease costs, right? We can look at, depending on your organization and what you're utilizing. We have many customers that have seen a reduction in costs of up to 80%. Reduce the number of errors. Whenever you're doing anything manually, as we all know, it does open up the opportunity for human error to come in there. And then also empowering your IT admins with the ability to do more with an automation tool, because they're actually doing less, but having a more effective or having more effect on your organization. Also empowers the end user in some cases by allowing third-party integrations with things like ServiceNow or other ITSMs or Workday, which is an HR software. So all of those things are reasons, or those four things are the biggest reasons, I would say, that our customers are telling us that they see the benefit, or the benefits they've seen from a UC automation tool. So a couple of case studies, or a few case studies, I think would resonate with you all folks that joined us today. And these are real life case studies, right? We've actually done these. They're complete. Large scale organizations, as I mentioned, doesn't mean, by the way, you have to be a 50,000 person company to take advantage of either Kurmi as an automation tool or Kurmi as a migration tool. These are just three that we've done in the last year. So one, large US healthcare system, significantly north of 100,000 end users, Cisco across the board, right? Not something we see necessarily all the time, but they are Cisco through and through for both telephony as well as their collaboration suite, as well as contact center. So they had been utilizing Cisco Prime Provisioning, which was a tool or a solution that was being retired by Cisco. They didn't necessarily know where to go. We worked closely with Cisco and with the Cisco partner, as well as with the customer, to implement Kurmi in their environment, which allowed them to continue to handle as well as grow their entire organization from a UC standpoint. Another customer profile, a large European bank, 40,000 end users. They were with Skype in an on-premise solution. They needed to migrate over to Teams. How do they do that, right? Microsoft was telling them, look, you have to make a move. There's huge benefits to doing it. The customer understood that, signed a contract, bought the licenses. Okay, great. But now what do we do? So they engaged with Kurmi to say, okay, look, we're going to actually utilize our resources, our tools, and our expertise to help make that migration quicker, easier, more efficient, cheaper, and most importantly, successful. So really big success story there. And then the third one, and again, I'm going to hand this over to Antoine in a minute, and he's going to do a demonstration of some of these and what they look like. But just to give you some understanding of how impactful this could be, large-scale service provider, well over 50,000 end users, closer to 100,000 actually. All of their customers, for the most part, were Cisco on-prem and or even Cisco HCS in some cases. For various reasons, they wanted to and needed to move to WebEx calling, whether it be WebEx calling DI, WebEx calling MT, or in most cases, and we're seeing a lot of this, into a full WebEx hybrid environment where you had some parts of their organization that were staying on-prem for various reasons. You had some parts of their customer base that were moving to WebEx DI, and then you had a large chunk of their end users that were moving to WebEx calling multi-tenant. So ultimately, the point here is we can handle and we can help you manage whatever your migration looks like. Wherever you are to wherever you're going, the problem is, how do you go from here to here? And Kurmi certainly has the capability, and we believe we're unique in the ability to support you in that. So how do we do all this? There's a bunch of different things that we do. This is a super busy slide. I don't necessarily love it, but it does show you a snapshot of what are some of the things that Kurmi software and our migration and automation software brings to the table for you. So there's discovery, there's sync, there's user profiles, security and compliance, all of these different things. And I mentioned before also, the ability to integrate with third-party applications is enormous. Large-scale enterprises like yourselves have made significant investments in technologies that are key and strategic to your success. Kurmi allows you to not only continue to utilize them, but also leverage them and make those applications even more important and more user-friendly, while Kurmi handles the workflow on the back end. So real quick before I hand it over to Antoine, just to give you all some understanding of what kind of financial impact bringing in a migration tool, bringing in an automation tool like Kurmi can do for your organization. So on the average, and we've gotten this from our own customers, but also from multiple third-party companies that we've hired to do research for us. On the average, the average employee goes through 2 changes per year, whether that be they were hired, they left the company, they moved locations, they got promoted and got more functionality, they added technology, they removed technology, et cetera, right? On the average, every employee goes through 2 changes per year. So we've done the research. We've talked to customers about this. We know what this takes. Each one of those events to make that change, if you were to go, let's say, into Cisco Call Manager, for example, or Avaya Call Manager, et cetera, and make that change, because of the number of attributes that you have to touch, whether it's, in some cases it's 80, some cases I've seen it high as 120. If you're getting into contact center, it can be even higher. Takes on the average about 20 minutes from someone who really is an expert in that technology to make that change. So if you have 10,000 employees, each one of those takes 20 minutes. Multiply that by 2, you're looking at 6,600 hours. That same exact function that took you or took your help desk 20 minutes to perform with Kurmi takes on the average about 60 seconds. So you can extrapolate this out yourselves. 10,000 person organization goes from spending 6,600 man hours to 300 man hours. That is significant time savings. That is significant cost savings. Very, very impactful to the bottom line. And as the scale of your organization grows, so do the potential cost savings associated with that grow. So with that, I am going to hand this over to my much cooler and my much smarter colleague, Antoine Perrier. Antoine runs our entire pre-sales organization He has a French accent, but he lives in Brooklyn, so don't really believe the French accent. So, with that, my friend Antoine, I will hand it over to you to talk about multiple scenarios and how we migrate customers.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Desi, for this introduction. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Really happy to be here and to present this live demo today. Just before I jump into the demo, let me talk about these two scenarios I will present today. With Kurmi, we can do migration, and today we choose to demonstrate two examples of migrations. One, scenario one, entirely with Kurmi, where you will see that we will be able to demonstrate a user migration from one technology, Avaya, to another, here Microsoft Teams. And you will see that in that scenario, Kurmi will be connected to both the on-prem solution and the cloud solution. And that could be also like the source solution, that could be also cloud solution to another cloud solution. You will see that in that scenario, we will have the configuration ready. So Kurmi will be aware of all the infrastructure on the on-premise environment and the cloud environment, and the transition will be really smooth. This kind of scenario is a scenario where it will be a long type migration, for example, and we will help you to have one single pane of glass where you can see all your different resources. The second scenario will be a scenario that will be slightly different. Let's say here you want to achieve a migration over a short period of time. And for that, we will here show you an example of a migration where Kurmi will not be connected to the on-prem environment, but we will leverage the integration with one of our partners to do the migration and to help you to connect to the cloud environment. So we will provide you like a solution for here the end of the migration and help you for your migration journey, because migration does not stop once all your resources are moved, but it will also stop when you will be able to manage them all and correctly continue to do the provisioning. With that said, let me jump now into the first part, the first scenario, the migration of Avaya to Teams. And for that, I will start to share my screen. And I will show you here an example of an environment that is here a Kurmi environment. So right now, I'm a global administrator of a company. And as I was saying, we have prepared a migration from one technology, Avaya, to Microsoft. Here are as a global administrator, I can see different elements. So I can see here that I have 40 users already created, 22 users pending to create, but I can see that my users are split across different regions. So I have the American region, EMEA region, APAC also region, and all of these users, even if they are on different clusters, are managed with one single tool, one single pane of glass. And in fact, if I scroll down a little bit, you will see here that I'm not only using two technologies, I'm connected to more than that. I also here I'm connected to Cisco on-prem environment and WebEx on top of Avaya and Microsoft. The way we manage users is using users personas. So what you see here is the repartition of users according to their profile. The profile is a way for us to easily define what will be the services we will activate for you. So for example, here, I can see that I have 10 users on Avaya and 11 users on Microsoft. And this Avaya basic profile is a way for me to automate all the configuration I need for a given type of users. You can, of course, configure and customize the name. It's just a demo environment, and we will help you to do that. But with that said, I will show you here a migration of one user from Avaya to Microsoft. And for that, I will use here the button to manage a user. So I will search for a given user. I have one I prepared today for the migration, which is Emily, really French name. Emily is a French user, and she's located in Paris, of course. Here you can see that Emily has a number and she has a couple of Avaya services activated. All these services depend on the profile I was mentioning, or the user personas. In this user personas, I can see that she has a station, she also has a line, and she can have also some additional services like EC500, ungroup. She can have additional like any services if it's part of the profile. But what we want to achieve is that we want to move her from Avaya to Microsoft. and I want to do that smoothly as an administrator, and I don't want to go to any other system than the system I'm using right now. How I can do that? It will be really simple. It will be using the modify button over there. So if I start the move here, I will change here the user from the package Avaya to Microsoft. And when I will select this new package, you will see that now we have here a form that is dynamic, and this form will ask some simple questions. Of course, we can also customize other information, like I can move her to the different departments, but that's not the case for the demonstration today. Today, I'm moving her to Microsoft, and I choose here to ask some simple question like, okay, you're moving Emily. Maybe here you will assign different type of license. I know she has some voice, so I will automatically position the voice license, but maybe here there is a different type of license you want for her. For me, because I didn't know, I asked the question. Of course, if that could be automated, you don't need to ask the question. So this could be hidden, and this could be automatically completed because you don't have to change licenses. I just wanted to show you that for the demo because we can do that for any field. And same for the phone number. You see here, I'm automatically populating a phone number, but if you want to change this phone number, you can use the pop-up window over there where you will have a graphical view of what are the available phone numbers for Microsoft in this location. And this is here really easy to understand. Red numbers are used, gray numbers are reserved, and all the green numbers are available. So if you want to pick a different one, you can of course pick a different number. If you want to provide additional services, or if you knew that Emily was part of a hunt group or pickup group, or she had maybe EC500, other services can be activated by default. Again, that will depend on your configuration. In my case, I only choose to enable the voice capability and collaboration capability on Microsoft, but that could be additional services. At this stage, if I hit the apply button, it will migrate the user. If you want, and if you need to, and I think that's something that will be really interesting for you in case of migration or in case of planning in advance your migration, you can also schedule the operation. So if you want, and if you know that this user or these bundles of users needs to be migrated over the weekend and not now, you can plan the operation and you can schedule the operation at a specific time. We'll not do that for the demo today. I will do it immediately. But when you here hit the apply button, you will see that now Kurmi is performing the migration, and I have two messages that just appear on my screen. The first one is saying me that there is an asynchronous operation going on, and second one is saying that the modification has been done completely. If I look at Emily's screen now, it's slightly different. First, she has a voice package on Microsoft 365, and services listed below are only related to Microsoft. Nothing more related to Avaya. Why is that? It's actually because we moved this user from Avaya to Microsoft, but at the same time, we deleted all services. And how I can prove that? It's using the ticket of operation. So if I click on the ticket of operation, within Kurmi, we are listing all the information of the migration. So every change you will do will be listed with a ticket as a unique ID number. And also here, you can see who is performing the operation and when it has been done. But the most interesting part is below. Here you see that I did a simple change. I modified the package of Emily from Avaya Mavic to Microsoft 365 Voice. And that's the only change I really did, in fact. I didn't click anywhere else. But this change had a lot of impact. And as you can see, because I did that, I deleted all the configuration on Avaya, all the communication profile set, all the station, everything that was related to Emily on Avaya was automatically deleted. And that's one of the advantage here of using Kurmi connected to both environments is that because we are aware of everything on-prem and everything in the cloud, we can handle this type of migration here, where we can help you to do smooth and progressive migration, or maybe transition over the time, where you are managing multiple environments. If I go back here, you just see here a migration of one user. Okay. Of course, if you want to perform bulk operation of users, you can, instead of accessing to one user, access to the global list of users discovered across all your environment. Okay, not only one cluster, but multiple cluster on multiple technology. And you can here filter the user for specific type of profile, specific location. And from here, you can say like, I want to migrate all users from using Avaya on a specific location, like Berlin or New York City. I can select and filter all of them and trigger the migration the same way as I did for one user. I can select multiple users and start the modification from here. So you can create batch of user migration also for sites. And this is not only for users, but all their services, as you may understood. So this was here the first use case of migration. And in this use case, we can migrate from many different technology. But in this use case, we will need to have Kurmi configured and connected to all your different ecosystem. So this will allow you to have a really smooth transition, and this will allow you to have a provisioning tool and a migration tool that will continue over the time, even after all users are migrated, or maybe even because you will decide to keep an hybrid environment, you will have one single pane of glass to manage them all. In the second use case, as I said, it will be slightly different. In this use case, I will show you a video. And in this video, you will see that we will not here connect Kurmi to the on-prem environment, but we will here have Kurmi connected only to the cloud environment. And for the migration, we will rely on one of our partners, which will be the tool that will be used to discover everything on-prem, do the mapping, and help you to move all your different, not only resources, but configuration to the cloud. And for that demo, I choose to record a video. And in that video, that is normally like around 25 to 30 minutes, we have fast forwarded some of the parts. So you will see here that all the migration steps, but some of the steps will be just maybe fast forwarded. In this first part of the video, you see here that we are comparing the source environment to the target environment. The target environment today does not have any type of configuration, either configuration of infrastructure, as you can see here, no partition, no CSS, no device pool, but also no resources created yet, okay? The purpose of this migration will be to move all the resources, but also to move all the type of configuration, which is very important because a lot of time it's a struggle for many customers to be able to do the migration of their infrastructure correctly. Now we're switching to the tool, and you will see that in that tool, we will here have different steps. The first step is just to connect to the cloud, to the source environment and to the target environment, and to create a new migration project. The first step of this migration project is a discovery. So here we are discovering all users, all configuration, all devices, everything that you have on-prem. And based on this discovery, it will allow us to do some guess of your configuration. Like for example, we will try to guess what are the sites and what are the setup you have in your on-prem environment that we need to use in the cloud environment. And you will see here this first discovery. So that's why it has been here like fast forwarded. This first discovery will allow us to have a first what we call site suggestion. And this site suggestion will be based on a mapping. Like for example, in my case here, you see that we found that there is 4 sites to migrate: Dallas, Denver, New York, and San Francisco. And all these sites, I want to migrate them, but we have discovered them, and maybe it's based on device pool naming convention, maybe it's based on specific parameter. All of that has been done just based on this first discovery. Once we have selected the site we want to migrate, we will now here do a reallocation. Okay, the allocation will allow us to put all the resources we have discovered into sites. And that's where we will start to have some interesting part of the migration, because in your migration, it's almost impossible to have like 100% of rules, I would say correct rules or no discrepancy. And in that tool, you will be able to fix the discrepancy and help you to here like do the mapping of things missing. Like for example, here, my sites are missing country code. Okay, so I need to fill the country code information. But maybe I have other issue. Like for example, there is no one-to-one match. So I need to maybe ignore some parameters or change the configuration on the target. And that's exactly what I'm doing right now. As you can see here that there is a code manager group on the source. There is no mapping available for the target. So I have to here update the mapping manually. And that's how you can here like automate most of the migration, because here, just based on one screen, one table, you will be able to just fix all the warning, all the quick issues. So here, for example, I have another one that we discovered is that there is some token user that are here created to connect to the CMCM, and it's asking like, do you want to migrate them? Of course, no, I don't want to migrate them. So here, I will just like disable that rule and do not migrate these users. I will revalidate the migration. And now we have validated the migration. We can here see that all sites are ready. Okay, so I can select them. And I can see here the repartition of resources and repartition of things that are created per site. In my case, I will select all sites to migrate. Okay, it's not mandatory, but here you can choose to migrate a bunch of sites at the same time, or only one if you want to start your migration side by side. But what we're going to do as well is that we're going to export this configuration. All the configuration we have discovered will be very useful for configuring Kurmi. And you will see that after this migration, all the setup of Kurmi, we can just load this file we are extracting, and Kurmi will be ready to use for any provisioning. So as I was saying, your migration journey will be really simple because you will have a tool ready to use for the provisioning as soon as all your resources are in your new environment. Here, we just started to validate the migration. So we will prepare the object, and we will prepare now the migration. It will be just a quick step. So again, this has been fast forwarded because we have a couple of objects to validate. But this is here a first preparation of the migration and preparation of all the sites. So we're trying to identify if there is some discrepancies or if there is some issues. But here you see nothing major, so we can continue the migration. And that's where now we will have, again, a validation. We found again something that we should have fixed here on the environment. So we fixed here the source environment. We ignore this in the source environment. And now we will be able to prepare our migration plan. Okay, so I selected all the sites: Dallas, Denver, New York, San Francisco, and I will start the migration. So start the configuration of all the site infrastructure. That's where it will happen. So here there is some dependency. It's very important to follow the right scheduling to just create the right objects. So here, this tool will help you to automate that. So you will not have to worry about doing that yourself, doing a lot of file that you will have to load maybe on the new environment yourself, or a lot of scripts that you will have to maintain yourself. All of that will be done by the tool. And the final step will be really to move the site. So to move all resources into this new target cluster. So now we're gonna also start this with the tool, and all the change will be done here with our migration here partner tool. And with that said, it's done. Again, we have accelerated that, but normally this process is taking around like 20-25 minutes for the migration of around like 4 sites and hundreds of resources. Just showing you now the new here, the source and the target environment. And as you can see here, that we have now the same resources. One thing I want to mention is that this tool can be used to clone the environment, exactly what I did here today, but it can also be used to just map the environment, meaning that if you want to change your dial plan, your configuration, we can also do that, and we will help you to here like realize the mapping of the environment. But now all users, all resources, all devices, device pool, everything is moved to the new environment. At that stage, now I want to connect Kurmi. Why? Because as I said, a migration is a journey. And here we want to show you that with that tool, you can leverage all the configuration we have discovered and extracted from the tool. And in couple clicks, here you see that we have developed a sort of workflow. In couple clicks, we will be able to just generate a new tenant. Here, import the file we have extracted, so the site information, import the range of number we've extracted. Here you see that we have couple ranges, and based on this workflow, we will have now here an example of a customer ready to use. So here I'm just loading here the example of user profile, but not mandatory. But here you will see that now we have this tenant almost ready. We will trigger the discovery, and Kurmi will be able to now perform all the change. So here we will help you for the end of this migration journey, because now here you have not only all your resources or maybe part of your resources migrated, but you have a tool that can help you to do all the day-to-day operation. And as you can see here, everything is loaded. So we have our 20 users created. We have all our different sites. We have the repartition of users according to the different profile. And you have all the services like phone, line, and Jabber. And all of that is available here on the Kurmi. So everything is ready. And you can here provide that to your IT help desk, and they will be able to here continue and do the administration, and even maybe like do the administration on multiple environments, because here Kurmi can be used also for not only Cisco, but also many other environments. So if in your target environment you want to manage multiple systems, we will be here, the tool to help you to manage multiple systems. And with that said, let me just go back on the presentation and give the ball back to Eric to Desi, sorry, to wrap up this session.
Thank you, Antoine. That was really impressive and quite the crash course on using Kurmi for migrations. But I will say, if any of you on this webinar are interested in a more paced demo of our migration capabilities, please feel free to reach out. Eric, our VP of Sales, is here, or to Antoine. We are very happy to schedule time with you and take you through this step by step, how we can do it. Just quickly to wrap up before we move over to Q&A. So in summary, basically, we know the companies are increasingly migrating to the cloud, and this is posing all sorts of challenges for them. A UC provisioning tool like Kurmi is really designed and built to help with these types of challenges, to take away the pain and at the same time save you time and money. And it, in addition to handling migrations, as you saw at the end of the live demo, we are also built for day-to-day management of UC. So regardless of what your situation is and how complex it is, I'm sure that we can help you with your specific situation. So with that, I would like to thank Antoine and Eric for their participation, and we can move over to the questions.
Yep. And I know we got a couple, Desi, that had come in while we were talking, mostly while Antoine was talking. So Antoine, do you want to?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Antoine, can you see them? Do you want to take us through those questions?
Yeah. I can take some of these questions. So one of the first question is, how do you monitor or alerted if your workload or integration are not functioning as expected? So the way we work is that we have connectors, and connectors is just like a way for us to interact between Kurmi application and another application using APIs. And these connectors are live monitored. So if there is like a failure, network failure or something like that, you have an alert within Kurmi saying that we cannot reach this equipment anymore. So here you will have like a way to see that we are not connected anymore, and you can put all your operation in a bundle that could be executed at a later phase once the network connectivity is back on track. There was another question regarding the integration with other platform. I think here it's more like for number porting. Yes, so we do have some native connector, as I was referring to Cisco, Microsoft, Avaya. We also have the ability to integrate with other platforms using our SDK. And as soon as there is an API available, yes, it's possible to just execute some workflows or change on this other like platform to maybe help you to not only do the migration, but to also go to the extra steps. That's what we're doing for some of our customers. We're changing, for example, the local routing table in their SBCs. We are like moving numbers to different carriers. All of that could be done.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm taking the question as I'm seeing them. So there was also a question about workflow for MSP. So yes, Kurmi is available for MSPs, and what you saw here in the demo is I was using an MSP environment. Why? Because I was able to create a tenant in a multi-tenant environment, and the workflow you saw where I was deploying the tenant is a workflow that could be customized based on your needs. And so yes, we can create your own workflow to just do some change or automate customer configuration if you want. And last question for me. Oh, maybe you have a question, Daisy.
Oh, no, I see some others, but yeah, go ahead and answer the last one.
Yeah, last question, I think for me, maybe the other one will be more for Eric, but I saw someone like also asking about the data collection process on Avaya. So we can use our connector to automate discovery. So on this demo platform, I was already connected and I already imported resources. I'll be happy to show you that in a demo. I'll be happy to even do like a POC with you if you want, where we can connect a Kurmi environment and import all resources that you got in your Avaya environment. And we can here use all this information and resources to prepare the migration or prepare here the day-to-day operation within the on-prem environment. So quick answer is yes, we have discovery capability and we can connect to many Avaya environments or system to help you to discover that.
Great. I see a couple more here. So one question is, do you offer a try and buy or a POC for Kurmi?
Yes.
And Eric, do you want to take that?
Sure. Yeah. So the answer is yes. When we look at, I mentioned earlier, right, we're dealing with really large scale enterprise organizations, and in almost every case there is a POC. It's well defined between us and the customer, right? What's really important is to understand what does success look like, because that's really ultimately what we want to answer. But short answer, yes, we absolutely do POCs for opportunities all the time.
Okay, excellent. And one more question. What is Kurmi's licensing model? Another one for you, Eric.
Yeah, I'll grab that as well. So we generally license on a per user basis. I think it's important to note also that it's not based on the number of technologies or number of endpoints that an individual user has. So, for example, and by the way, this is real life scenario that's almost every customer we have, which is okay. I have a Cisco telephone with DID. The same user also has a Microsoft Teams license for IM and presence and collaboration. So that is still to us one user. So it doesn't matter to us that they're using different technologies. It doesn't matter from a licensing standpoint that they have multiple endpoints. They probably will have a Jabber soft phone if they're a Cisco user. So again, all those different endpoints and the multiple technologies do not add on to your license count. It's really assigned to the individual user. I hope that answered the question.
Yep, thank you very much. And then I think we have one more question left. Is there a limit of resources or objects that you can manage or migrate in a single Kurmi instance?
That is definitely going to be Antoine.
I can take this one, yeah. So, as I was saying, Kurmi has been designed for not only large enterprise, but managed service provider as well, and it's very scalable. We have done some performance stress tests on very large environment with more than 1 million end users and all their services associated. And that's the I would say like standard performance stress test we did, we can go above that 1 million limit. I'll be happy to show you that. And if you have an environment with more than 1 million users, I'll be happy to test the platform and here like connect to your environment and see what we can do with it. But technically, I don't think there is any limit on the number of users or entry we can import in one single instance of Kurmi.
Hey, Desi, I think and I apologize if Antoine answered this. I don't know if he did, but another question we had coming online was, Antoine, how do we monitor or alert? How does Kurmi alert the customer if workload / an integration is not functioning as expected? Did we answer that already?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Sorry, I missed it.
Oh.
I think we're at the end of our questions. I don't see any more coming in, but we're also almost at the end of the hour that we have together. So I'm just going to wrap up. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Great to have you here. As I mentioned, if you find this presentation useful, we're going to send you links in an email if you would love to share it with your colleagues or anyone else who you think might be interested. That would be great. And we are available for meetings or demos in addition to what you saw today. So please feel free to reach out. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this session. Thanks again for joining. Thank you to Antoine and Eric, and we will see you at the next one. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thanks, Desi.
Thank you.
Great job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.